Hi YouTube, welcome back to my channel. So lucky you, 2 uploads in the weekend because I didn't manage to upload during the week. Last week I was away and very busy all week. So I thought I would show you my January favourites before we got too much further into February. January, oh, it seemed a long month, didn't it? And I was travelling a lot, so I have my kind of travel products that are kind of ready packed, and I tend to use the same makeup. And truth to tell, some of that, which I have been using a lot this month, so in that sense have been favourites, is left in my bag at the hotel up in the Midlands, ready for me on Monday. So I can't show you, for example, the Tom Ford Soleil palette, which I have been using a lot this month. I must talk about it next month because I really do love the blush in that palette. But here are some products that I have with me that I have used a lot and have been enjoying. And I think some of them are ones that I haven't talked about at all or particularly shown you in unboxings. I may have shown this product because it came in one of my large free gifts with purchase. I can't remember whether it was Cult Beauty or Space NK. And it's a rose hair and body oil that I have been really loving. I'm not usually a huge fan of oils. You've heard me talk about facial oils and my difficulties in finding one I really like, and I wouldn't normally dream of using a body oil. I'm not usually a great fan of rose fragrances either. So this I didn't expect to love, and I thought I would probably get rid of it, sell it on eBay, but I had a sniff. And the first thing that drew me in with was the smell, which is nothing like the slightly synthetic, very strong rose fragrance that you get on a lot of products. This really smells like rose petals. It has that kind of rosy, grassy smell. It made me think of when I was a kid. You know, we used to play supposedly making perfume in the garden, you know, soaking rose petals in water and making a horrible mess when they went off. But before they went off, you would have this this fragrance that I associate with childhood and gardens, and that is exactly the fragrance of this body oil. It's also, I suppose they might call it a dry oil. It is moisturizing, but it's not sticky. It doesn't sit on the surface of the skin, but it doesn't feel slimy. So I've really used it a lot, not on my hair at all, because I, you know, don't need oil on my hair, but definitely instead of body cream after a shower or the bath. And you can see I only started using it in January, and I've gone through quite a lot already, and you don't need much for one go. So I have been loving that. Another of the free gifts was this palette from, do we call it NYX, NYX? I don't know, this very cheap drugstore line that I have bought from before. And this is their Strobe of Genius Illuminating palette. Again, a freebie, and I have so many illuminators. But what I don't have, and I really love, is this purpley iridescent one up here, which is really, really pretty. And I have been using that on a fan brush quite a lot. In fact, I like all of, not so much that one, but these two and this one here. I'm not so keen on this one, which is also a bit gritty and is a very, very strong coppery colour. But you could use it as an eyeshadow. They're very well pigmented, and apart from that one, which feels a bit gritty, they're a really, really nice, what's the word, formulation. They feel nice. They're not a kind of baked jelly formulation. They're definitely a powder, but very easy to use. Now, when I showed this on Instagram, I think a couple of people said they had had bad skin reactions. I'm quite sensitive, and I have to say I haven't, so I don't know, but that's something to bear in mind. I've no idea how much this costs because, as I say, it was one of the freebies, but I'm guessing not very much, and Selfridges stock this brand now. Another palette that I don't think I've shown you, and I am going to do a proper video on it. I want to actually compare it with the Charlotte Tilbury Eyes to Mesmerise. They're not exactly the same, but they have this kind of format where you've got 3 different looks. What is this called? Superhero, Superhero, Eye Transforming Anti-Aging Super Palette. Don't know why my hands are so shaky this morning. I do have shaky hands. I have essential tremor, but it's worse when I've not had my coffee, which I haven't. So you have here 3 colours which are kind of supposed to be the base priming colours. I find both of these two work quite well for me, less so this one. And you can see I've barely touched into the darker matte combination up here, but I have used these combinations down here a lot. What I find about these shadows is they are quite difficult to apply in that they are quite solid, stiff almost, so you have to work quite hard to blend them, but I do find they stay very, very well on my eyelids. So that's why I quite like this palette, but I am going to speak a bit more about it when I get time to compare it with the Tilbury one, as I say. Here's an old favourite and a new favourite. You heard me talk a lot last year about the Dior Lip Sugar Scrub, which I absolutely adore. I think if I were to choose one favourite product for the whole of last year, it would have been this. Absolutely love it. So I splashed out on the Dior Glow Colour Reviver Balm as a balm to go with it after use just before Christmas. And I've been loving that. You can see just a very pretty pink. It does slightly darken on the lips. Very nice and moisturising. It's a balm. It's quite an expensive balm, but I do like it. Of the Chanel Spring collection, Spring-Summer collection, which I love, and again, I'm going to talk in more detail about the products, particularly the eye palette, which I am enjoying very much. I haven't worn it a ton yet, but I have worn it and I'm impressed. I want to talk about it a little bit more when I've used all the colours more regularly. I like the whole collection. I've worn the whole collection, but this nail polish so far has been my absolute favourite. Absolutely love it. This is the Verde Pastello, very close to Nouvelle Vague, well, cross between Nouvelle Vague and Jade, I would say. Such a beautiful spring-summer colour. I've worn it a couple of times. It's a really nice formulation as well. And the other Chanel eye product that I've been wearing from really the holiday collection, I have again worn the holiday palette quite a lot and enjoyed it. But the Silver Screen, this is my first of the new Ombre Premiere creams, which is their new formulation from the Illusion d'Ombre. They're creamier than the old Illusion d'Ombre, and you can see how much already I've used that one. It's just such a wearable taupey colour as a base or just on its own, so I've been hitting that quite a lot in January. Then Sunday Riley, I talked about the CEO collection. I like it all really, but I definitely like this cleansing oil, and I've been using that a lot. You can see how much I've used up since just before Christmas of that, so that's an expensive like. I'm also trialling a whole host of new foundations. I have the new Urban Decay All Nighter foundation on the go. I've got a Guerlain, I've got Dermacol. I need to talk to you about that. So I've broken open a whole new group of foundations. Foundations are kind of my second obsession after highlighters, and I'm always on the look for a glowy foundation that doesn't sit too much in the pores around my nose and make them look all clogged and dirty. So that's my issue with foundations. One that I've had in my drawer for quite a while and opened very recently is this one, the Tom Ford Traceless Perfecting Foundation. This is in the colour Buff, and so far I'm hugely impressed with this. Very pigmented, but doesn't sit in the pores. But I need to experiment a little bit more. I'm not quite sure whether the excellent result I've had with it not sitting in the pores is due to the primer or due to the foundation. And because I've been chopping and changing, trying the different ones, I'm not too sure yet. But so far, loving the Traceless Perfecting Foundation by Tom Ford. So I definitely need to give myself a few more weeks with these different foundations and do a bit of a foundation roundup on what I'm loving and what I'm not loving so much in that line at the moment. There's a whole new lot of foundations out there at the moment, so there are so many to try. It's very tempting to buy bottle after bottle, but I'm trying to rein myself in. So those are the most used favourites for January, and until next time, bye for now.